Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. Today, a man who was governor of the great state of Nevada for 10 years, and now he's got a new job. Ray Hagar has the rundown.
Today, we talked with former Governor Bob Miller and his dealings with the new business group called the Nevada Tourism Alliance. Sam?
And coming up on the Para Pundit panel today, Martha Gould and Carole Vilardo. It's all coming up next on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
If you think Wells Fargo is only checking accounts, you're not seeing the whole picture. Online brokerage, mutual funds, mortgages, and home equity accounts. So get more than free checking and start reaching your goals today. Now you get the picture. Wells Fargo, the next stage.
If you own a business and want to maximize your company's potential, join the Retail Association of Nevada. Our membership benefits include the Nevada Retail Network Self-Insured Group, providing workers' compensation coverage that can lower your rates. That savings can go directly to your bottom line. We are an effective pro-business organization that lobbies on behalf of our business members. The Retail Association of Nevada, protecting Nevada businesses for 35 years.
When you need a new employee, how can you be sure who you're really hiring? A background investigation by Employer Links will uncover criminal records, verify the applicant's education, check their credit history and Social Security verification. An investigation will research professional licenses and driver's licenses and let you know why they're unemployed. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment.
It's the next best thing to having your own wine cellar. Come to the Bonanza Casino for a first and fine dining, reasonably priced wines. When you dine at Cactus Creek Southwestern Steakhouse, you can also enjoy a fine bottle of wine at just about the same price you'd pay at the Vineyard, Silver Oak, Robert Mondavi, Rombauer, Cape Bread, Jordan, and Duckhorn, just to name a few. And at the lowest prices of any restaurant or casino in Northern Nevada. And remember, all fine wines are not in wine cellars. They're in the Cactus Creek at the Bonanza Casino, where locals come to play.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we are very pleased to welcome to the program somebody you don't see a whole lot these days publicly, at least on our broadcast airwaves, and that's former Governor Bob Miller. Welcome to the program, Governor. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you, Sam.
You've taken on a new job. You and businessman Larry Ruvo, who heads up Southern Wine and Spirits, have joined to form the Nevada Tourism Alliance. What exactly is this organization, and what does it plan to do?
Well, it's a recognition that in the past legislative sessions and in other decision-making bodies that the primary industry in the state, resort and casinos, have not always spoken with a common voice with the businesses that are either directly or indirectly supportive or dependent upon the profitability of that industry. So what we're trying to do is reach out to all the businesses in Nevada that care about the continued health and economic prosperity of our primary industry and make them aware of what the tourism industry thinks it needs to do to continue to be successful in Nevada, and so that those businesses can evaluate whether it's in their best interest to support those positions.
Governor, this is Ray Hagar from the Reno Gazette. I wanted to ask you, how you doing, Governor? You're the best basketball player that ever was governor, I have to tell you that. But really, is this the only one? Probably. Is this new alliance, is it really an attempt to perhaps get a gross receipts tax or a hybrid gross receipts tax passed in the 2007 legislature? Is this like the beginning of the push?
No, there's no specific agenda at this point in time. Larry Ruvo and I and Lorenzo Fertitta from the Nevada Resort Association, Bill Bible, their director, had talked a little bit after the last legislative session, and I think there was some level of frustration about disjointed messages and the fact that many businesses that might want to support the same positions as our primary industry either didn't have the opportunity, the vehicle, weren't well enough informed. And so this is an opportunity for all those businesses to get together, to be informed, and then to decide what, if anything, they want to support in a collective or even an individual manner. There's no specific agenda as to any tax or any particular legislation.
Governor, it's public knowledge that the gaming industry conflicted with the Las Vegas Chamber of Commerce's position against gross receipts tax in the last session. Is the formation of the NTA actually the threatened Nevada State Chamber that came up at the last legislature?
No, it's just a realization that we have an industry that provides about 50% of the income for the revenue of our state on a direct basis, provides even more on an indirect basis, is responsible for 1 in 4 jobs. I mean, it really is the lifeblood of our state. And the health and vitality of that industry is critical not just to the people that work in the industry, but to so many other businesses that directly or indirectly do their primary source of revenue comes from the tourism and resort and casino industry. So we want to give them a voice, a collective voice, to be able to take positions that they think are important for their own benefit based upon what they know about the vitality of our primary industry. And it's not meant to rival or supplant any other group or organization, but rather just to provide a collective voice for those businesses that have been unheard.
Governor, what is the buy-in here with businesses in northern Nevada and in rural Nevada? How many businesses up here do you have in this new alliance?
Well, we have very few businesses to begin. We started with about 4 or 5 businesses that expressed a collective interest, and they formed the initial outreach. But we've sent out a mailer at this point to several businesses, and frankly, I'm not privy to the results they're in. It's only been a week or so. So I can't answer the question yet. I expect that we will have some business representation from throughout the state because our primary industry, gaming, tourism, is throughout the state, and we certainly intend this to be a statewide scope and effort.
I understand that this was based upon the American Gaming Association's reach out on a national level. Can you give us some examples of that?
Yeah, the American Gaming Association initially started out as a collective group of resorts and casinos, but then expanded to incorporate any and all of their businesses that might have interest in the expansion, proliferation, and legalization of gaming throughout the country. So in a conceptual form, it's similar in that regard.
Governor, what about direct competition with Chambers of Commerce and the Retail Association of Nevada? Are you aligned with these groups, or are you in direct competition?
I don't think either is true. I'm sure that many members of the Nevada Tourism Alliance will also be members of either retail associations or chambers of commerce or both, and we certainly welcome that. Any business is welcome to participate in the Nevada Tourism Alliance to become better informed about the positions of our primary industry and to be able to formulate collective and individual opinions as to their own desires in that regard. So it's not either or. I mean, we offer information, and from that the opportunity to take positions and perhaps pursue actions that are in the best interest of the businesses that are members.
Governor, let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk about taxes after this time out on Nevada Newsmakers. We'll be right back.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by Sunbelt Communication.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Ken Dillon, owner of Van Dyne Roofing, can get it fixed with his eyes closed.
Something spectacular has taken wing not far from Reno or Lake Tahoe, and never far from your mind. An escape of fine dining and legendary golf. Introducing the resort at Red Hawk. And at the center of it all, we've feathered our nest with new villas that have elevated Red Hawk to the status of a premier resort. The Resort at Red Hawk, a beautiful new arrival in northern Nevada.
It's America's largest historical district, and it's fun for the entire family. Virginia City is where the West comes alive every day, from train rides to gunslingers. Your gang can explore mines and interesting museums, visit historic saloons, and do some great shopping. Virginia City is the ultimate in family entertainment, and it's very affordable. Come up and stay overnight in our hotels, motels, and RV park. Virginia City, the Wild West at its best.
So, who do you use for workers' comp?
Pro Group Management.
Ah, I've heard some good things about them.
Oh, you bet. Employee background checks, safety training, claim seminars. Oh, and here's the great part. If you have an issue, they work for you, not against you.
Sounds perfect. And expensive.
Well, that's the best part. They saved me 30%. I've heard they've saved others 50%.
Works for me. Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers with Ray Hagar, we're talking to former Governor Bob Miller, who's heading up the Nevada Tourism Alliance, a new group that has been formed to help inform businesses about the position of the gaming industry. Governor, I want to talk to you a little bit about taxes here, if I could. Beyond the need to fix the entertainment and banking taxes, with this $750 million surplus that we appear to be looking at for the next session, doesn't that indicate that the tax structure in Nevada at this point is about right?
Well, it's right for probably the next budget. Beyond that, I think it'll have to be carefully monitored to ascertain whether we're going to have enough continued growth to meet growth in our taxes to meet the growth in our population and the needs and services that come with that. But certainly when you go into a budgetary session with a surplus, it's very unlikely, especially after the last legislative session, that there'll be any cry for new taxes in this coming session.
Do you think that the taxes that the gaming industry cover at this point covers not only the infrastructure costs, but also the costs of the 25 million visitors that we bring in, and also the social activities that can be detrimental sometimes?
Well, I'm not sure exactly I mean that, Sam, but I do think that the stability of our tax structure is always going to be in question, because we base a large portion of our revenues upon increases in gaming and sales taxes, which are somewhat discretionary and largely dependent upon tourists. Now, in the same tone, we are growing rapidly, particularly in southern Nevada, and the needs that the new population bring aren't directly accounted for in our tax base, because our tax base is based on, as I said, a different source. So we're always going to be, I guess, in a desirable fashion as long as we have sufficient enhancement in tourism. But if that ever is not able to meet the needs, then we're going to have other sources of revenue.
Well, Governor, you're speaking about broadening the tax base, it appears to me. So I maybe ask you one more time, in the session of 2007, do you see any type of gross receipts tax or a hybrid coming back into play there?
Well, I think that would depend upon the economic situation of the state at that particular point in time. I mean, I don't see it in this session. And in the 2007 session, it would depend. I mean, if tourism slows down, we don't have the increase that we're seeing right now, then I think that there's going to be a lot of discussion about it. If tourism continues to expand rapidly, and by tourism I mean the gaming revenues and collaterally to some degree the sales tax revenues, then there'll probably be less of an appetite to discuss it. But the reality is that if you plan for the future of this state, you always have to consider the fact that our primary sources of revenue are not directly tied to the growth that causes our primary expenditures. And so I think it's always a subject of discussion, but as long as the revenues are sufficient, it's not going to result in any changes.
Do you feel that the business community pays its fair share of taxes in this state when compared to gaming?
Well, as I indicated, gaming is, our primary industry. They're directly responsible for about 50% of the revenue in the state. I think that has made it possible for other businesses and the individual residents of the state to have much lower tax burdens than they might in other states. Whether you characterize that as fair or not is up to the individual. But I do think that if we broaden the base, obviously it's got to incorporate more than just our primary industry in the future. And those are the discussions that were had in the last legislative session. And I think will be had in future legislative sessions, depending upon the amount of revenue that we have coming in.
Governor, you work for Jones Vargas. Larry Ruvo of Southern Wine and Spirits is represented by Lionel Sawyer and Collins. And the Nevada Resort Association is represented by R&R Partners, which now includes Pete Earnott and Mark Brown. What's the political impact of having all of these heavy hitters backing the gaming industry and its effect on small businesses throughout the state? Should they feel threatened? I know I'd want to be on your team.
Well, I'm glad to have you on my team, Sam, as long as you pass me the ball. No, in any case, I was always known on the basketball court for the guy that wasn't willing to take a shot at any time. In any case, I think that there are and always have been a lot of individuals that recognize the importance of our primary industry. And so, groups like my law firm or businesses like Southern Wine and the Lionel Sawyer Law Firm, R&R, have always been, to some degree, involved in issues that relate to the primary source of revenue for the state. And that is and will continue to be the case. There are entities that represent small businesses, and they've had a very effective vocal voice in the Nevada legislature and in other entities in the past, and will continue to do so. This is just a recognition that there are some businesses that haven't had a collective voice as it related specifically to gaming-related issues, and we want to make them informed, allow them to formulate their own positions, and speak out and make that voice heard.
Governor, we thank you very much for being here. We're sure we're going to hear a lot more from your organization, and you are welcome back on this program anytime. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Governor. Thanks. You got game.
We'll be back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
When you need a new employee, how can you be sure who you're really hiring? A background investigation by Employer Links will uncover criminal records, verify the applicant's education, check their credit history and Social Security verification. An investigation will research professional licenses and driver's licenses and let you know why they're unemployed. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment.
Are you ready to experience Reno's ultimate lobster buffet? Then bring your appetite to the El Dorado, where we're serving a half pound of slipper lobster tail for just $5 with the purchase of a dinner buffet. Catch it every night of the week. Are you in?
If you think Wells Fargo is only checking accounts, you're not seeing the whole picture. Online brokerage, mutual funds, mortgages, and home equity accounts. So get more than free checking and start reaching your goals today. Now you get the picture. Wells Fargo, the next stage.
If you own a business and want to maximize your company's potential, join the Retail Association of Nevada. Our membership benefits include the Nevada Retail Network Self-Insured Group, providing workers' compensation coverage that can lower your rates. That savings can go directly to your bottom line. We are an effective pro-business organization that lobbies on behalf of our business members. The Retail Association of Nevada, protecting Nevada businesses for 35 years.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, it's a pleasure to welcome to our Power Pundit panel today, Martha Gould, Washoe County Democrat, former head of the library system in Washoe County, and Carole Vilardo, president of the Nevada Taxpayers Association. Welcome all.
Well, Carole, you just heard what Governor Miller had to say. As a tax expert, what is your reaction to?
Well, I think he was right when he said we're not going to be discussing a gross receipt tax in 2005. There's still too much carryover of the animosity, and that's about all you can call it, that was generated by 2 special sessions, a last-minute tax package, the corrections that have to be made this year, discussions about property tax going up. You know, those you can't mix an issue like that in. 2007 is fair game, irrespective of whether the economy is good or not. And I say that because you have some people within certain industries, gaming primarily, that have still been talking about gross receipts, something that they're very familiar with because they pay gaming on gross receipts, and could very well look to have that brought back in 2007 on the basis that you reduce something else. So I don't think it matters what the revenue situation is for 2007. I really expect to see it in 2007.
Okay.
You know, we keep on talking about taxes in terms of revenue, and we talked about this a little earlier. And it seems to me that what the legislature does not do is they don't look at taxes from in terms of policy. And maybe what you need to do is have decent tax policy before you begin to address revenue, because otherwise we do it in this piecemeal fashion, and it makes no sense.
But you know, Martha, you've always been an advocate for property taxes as being the most stable taxes, but we're seeing a situation where that's, especially down in southern Nevada, just rocketing out of control.
That's true, it is rocketing out of control, and I don't have an answer to that. But the bottom line is,
Martha.
if you look at it, oh, shush! I've said before I don't have an answer, but if you take a historical look at what's gone on since we did the tax shift way back in the late 70s, and I think it was 81. And then the state almost went bankrupt.
But that was not because, that was because of the national economic situation.
But that's the whole point. How do we know that this growth is going to be sustained? I mean, we have a booming construction industry right now. What's going to happen? Can we sustain this growth? Where are we going to find the water? You know, you buy water from Arizona from the Colorado River Compact, but at some point Arizona is going to say, forget it, I don't want your money, I want the water.
But then we'll look to Imperial Valley in California.
And
you know,
that, but then
well, actually, I can give a good answer to that,
situation.
which is that 15 to 20 years down the road, Pat Mulroy said on this very program that they're going to be building desalination plants off the coast of Southern California and using that water in California and allowing other states like Nevada to be able to take the water into this silver state.
Remember that...
May I just move on just a second here, if I may? Should anybody be afraid of this new group, or is this just an information group?
No. Whether they're information group or not, you can't be afraid. There are always going to be groups forming, and it's like water. They'll seek their level as to what's the most effective way to get their message out. And I think you both know, because you cover the legislature, Martha and I are up there, that for every group that's at this level, there's another group that's going to be giving you pros and cons. Obviously, this could potentially be an exceptionally high-powered group, but you have chambers that are very high-powered. You have trial lawyers that are very high-powered.
Pete Ernott and Billy Vasiliadis said on this program that there is no power of anointment, because if there was, there'd already be a gross receipts tax. And I think that's something to...
Well, last session, but I think that is, and the governor said it, it was the fact that you didn't have a consistent message out there last year.
No.
You had
competing groups,
multiple messages coming from the same industry about how they wanted something treated or why they wanted something treated. And I think that's why you have a new group, is to remove the baggage that may exist actually or be perceived to exist.
But does the new group just add to the baggage?
I'm not sure it would,
necessarily.
because
Not
you've got a
necessarily.
different mission statement that's going to be created out of that. You know, hopefully you learn from your errors. And when you look at somebody like the governor and Pete Arnott and Billy, you know that they are very smart people. And they are not going to make the same perceived errors or real errors.
And I'd like to talk to Frank Fahrenkopf on the program, because if this is based on an American Gaming Association principle and what they've been doing, I'd like to follow up on that. And of course, my phone is ringing over there, and I'm not going over there to answer. I wanted to bring up Bob Beers, who was quoted by Sean Whaley today, that he wants to give part of the $320 million tax surplus back to the people in the form of a credit on motor vehicle registration fees. And the Las Vegas Review-Journal editorial board jumped right on it and said, "We agree." What do you think, Carole?
Well, you know, it's very nice to say, first of all, you know, I've made it a trite statement because I say it so much, but the devil's in the details. How are you doing it?
That's right.
The surplus was generated at this period by people doing registrations. You have people that move out of state. You know, you have people who will be registering their cars, if this should go through, who were not responsible for generating.
And also you have people who will not get the credit because I believe it was the threshold was $100. And if you have an older car or only one car in the family, you may not get the credit. So there's an equity there.
Irrespective of that, that's not the only bill. When you have a surplus, and it's not the first time, the credits and tapers, every time we have a surplus, there is discussion about how to return money.
And we'll continue that discussion, but not right now. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
It's America's largest historical district, and it's fun for the entire family. Virginia City is where the West comes alive every day, from train rides to gunslingers. Your gang can explore mines and interesting museums, visit historic saloons, and do some great shopping. Virginia City is the ultimate in family entertainment, and it's very affordable. Come up and stay overnight in our hotels, motels, and RV park. Virginia City, the Wild West at its best.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Ken Dillon, owner of Van Dyne Roofing, can get it fixed with his eyes closed.
Something spectacular has taken wing not far from Reno or Lake Tahoe, and never far from your mind. An escape of fine dining and legendary golf. Introducing the resort at Red Hawk. And at the center of it all, we've feathered our nest with new villas that have elevated Red Hawk to the status of a premier resort. The Resort at Red Hawk, a beautiful new arrival in northern Nevada.
And coming up tomorrow, Ray?
Well, Sam, we got Controller Kathy Augustine. No holes barred.
You got it, my friend. We'll see you tomorrow. It's going to be a great show.